I got a very interesting video topic I want to talk about today. So I want to talk about my opinion on where I think all the current championship brands in WWE are going, like who I think is going to dethrone them, what I think is going to happen. Because we're kind of in a weird state with the company right now. Um, I'd say a limbo with a lot of championships. You got Seth Rollins with the World Heavyweight title. It's not really doing anything with it. He's just in a forever feud with CM Punk and the Usos with the Vision. And you got the champion, like Cody Rhodes with the WWE titles. Like, there's not really a direction for that at the moment. There were rumors that Drew McIntyre was supposed to be the guy to take the belt off of him at WrestlePalooza, but they ended up changing the outcome to that match for the show. But I want to, take a deep dive into what I think is going to happen. We'll start with some of the mid card titles. We'll start with the United States titles. I think it's the most clear and obvious out of all the championships because Sami Zayn's currently holding it, and he's now doing his own little John Cena, you know, open challenge every single week. Oh, who's going to come out? Who's it going to be? We've had really good matches so far. We've had Ray Phoenix. We've had a Carmelo Hayes match that was good, but it ended in a Blue Thunder Bomb, which I thought was weird. And it's weird because I think now they're trying to get that move over as a move that can get people just done, which has never been that. So it's making some of the wrestlers that are losing to it right now look weak. He just wrestled Aleister Black on SmackDown after Melo came out again trying to accept the challenge. But, he's got his whole thing with The Miz going on right now, which is a whole other thing I want to talk about someday. Is how Carmelo Hayes is getting used. But I think Sami Zayn is going to continue doing these open challenges for about a month or so. Maybe we'll see Axiom or Nathan Frazier fight him. Uh, Maybe one of the Bloodline members goes after him. Who knows? But I think that at Survivor Series, he's going to hold an open challenge. And I think that we're going to see the debut of Oba Femi come to the main roster and, just absolutely decimate Sami Zayn and, hopefully start along a dominant, like Gunther esque mid card title reign. Now, the Intercontinental title is a lot more interesting because with John Cena still being active, he's in the last few months, there are people that are always going to believe that, hey, maybe Cena will get his hands on the title from Dominic Mysterio, or maybe AJ Styles will and then go fight Cena. But honestly, I really think that the way that WWE's been kind of building up the moment for the past few years with Sheamus, I don't know exactly when. I kind of hope that Dominic Mysterio's title reign lasts up till WrestleMania, because I don't really see a time period where Sheamus could take the belt off him, or really anybody for that matter. I think it'd be a great moment if we were to have Sheamus face off against Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania and, capture the Intercontinental title for the first time. Because I really thought last year at Survivor Series, when they did Ludwig versus Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, I really thought that was the night where that was going to happen. And, they teased us it was this close, but it just did not happen. So I think that Sheamus is the optimal pick for a new Intercontinental Champion. The tag team titles, specifically on Raw, are dead in the water. There's not really anything that's going on with them. I don't know if there's anything that can really save them at the moment. Because you got Judgment Day and the Creeds, and that's kind of it. But I do actually think that the group that's going to take the belts off of the Judgment Day is the little Americano guys that are with El Grande Americano, because I think that eventually that's going to cause a rift between Dominic and Finn. Is because I think that there's going to be a title match between those two, and Dominic's going to accidentally help the Americanos win, and then that will start the story between Finn and Dom for that Intercontinental title, which I think will hold Dominic Mysterio over until his Sheamus feud. The WWE Tag Team titles are more interesting because there's actually tag teams over there. The Wyatts currently hold the belt, and we all love the Wyatts. We all love the Street Profits. We all love DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium. I think that the guys that are going to take the belts off of the Wyatts, it has to be Fraxium. I think that when they get their hands on those titles, it's just going to be a crazy match after crazy match after crazy match. And don't get me wrong, the Wyatts have been putting in really good performances with the tag team titles. I just don't think it's the right championship for them. I feel like Uncle Howdy could, hold on to a title, or maybe, they can go do a main event feud, maybe like a Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton, just something like that, something that's more intriguing and appealing than just doing tag team stuff. Not like that's wrong or anything. Like tag team work's been great in WWE on SmackDown specifically for the past year and a half. Um, the women's mid card titles are really intriguing because there's so many like potential options, but there's not anything that they're probably gonna do with them. You got Becky Lynch, who I honestly like. Pretty simple. I think AJ Lee is gonna get that championship, and that's gonna be like big moments, like oh, it's her first championship back, and everybody's gonna love to see that. I mean, I'd love to see that, but the women's United States Championship is interesting because you have just Selena Vega, Chelsea Green, and Julia fighting over that. I think maybe what's gonna happen is that there's gonna be a call up from NXT that will end up taking. I have no idea who, but that will be the person that takes the belt off Julia or Kiana James. Like heel turn, like when like oh man, I had an example, but it doesn't matter. But like just like a heel turn, like someone just like Dominic Mysterio SummerSlam 2024, like even turns more heel now. Julia's like, oh my god, my friend betrayed me, but that's the only possibility I can see happen with the women's mid card titles. There's not really a whole lot going on for them at the moment. Um, WWE Women's title is held by Tiffany Stratton, and there's not really a viable challenger for her at the moment because they've just completely given up on Jade Cargill, which sucks. I like Jade. I think she has like the presentation of being a great champion, just great like main event talent, but her move set and just her wrestling skill in general is not there. She's very simple with what she does, and she doesn't have the charisma to make up for the fact that she's very simple in the ring. But I think that eventually Tiffany is going to drop it to Jade. I think they're gonna want to try something different. The women's world title, I have no idea. Like maybe the Royal Rumble winner from this year, whoever that ends up being, will get it off of Stephanie Vaquer. But she's just won it. She's honestly the new face of the women's division. I think that we're building up towards Vaquer versus Ripley at Mania, and I think that is where she'll lose the championship because Rhea is like the face of the women's division. But they still like they're gonna. That's probably like their biggest match they have is Vaquer and Ripley for the title, which would be a great WrestleMania match. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Now the most interesting championships in the company right now are the two world titles because you have Cody and Punk, or not Punk, excuse me, Rollins. Rollins and Cody are going to face later this week at Crown Jewel, which I think Rollins is going to end up winning that. I'll do some predictions for that later in the week and give my full thoughts on those matches. I think Rollins is just going to end up going back and forth with Punk for these next few months. I think Punk's going to win the Rumble. Take that back. I don't think Punk's going to have to win the Rumble. I think Punk's going to do the Chamber route. And he's going to end up beating Rollins at Mania because that's got to be where this feud ends. Like we've been doing this since Punk came back in November of 2023. We've been doing the Rollins and Punk. Oh, they really hate each other. Well, let's end that and keep them as far away from each other as possible because once you have a match at WrestleMania, in my opinion, you should be nowhere near each other. You need to let that cool off. Now, the last championship we're going to talk about today, because we can talk about NXT another time, is the WWE title. I really wanted Drew McIntyre to win at WrestlePalooza. I think Drew McIntyre deserves to have an actual run with the championship in front of a crowd. The fact that he hasn't got to do that yet is just a travesty. Even after he won the world title at WrestleMania 40 and lost it in 5 minutes, I think we're gonna get to that point where we're gonna get that big match of, oh, it's Cody versus Orton. And which, by the way, you know how insane of a WrestleMania run that'd be for Rhodes since he's came back? Rollins at 38, Roman at 39 and 40, Cena at 41, then Orton at 42. And like all those matches have been like, hugely in wrestling history. Like Cena and Rhodes was not that good of a match, but it was a record breaking championship win. But I think Randy will end up taking the championship from Cody. I think we're gonna get, back to maybe '09 levels of heel Randy Orton, which would just be awesome. But, WWE is in a weird spot right now. I really want to see like all those changes that I've just brought up today be implemented because I feel like the product's very stale, and I feel like Orton with the world title, we've not seen that in 5 years. That'd be great. Punk with the world title, we've not seen that in over a decade. That'd be awesome to have him actually have a title reign. The women's mid card titles are just dead. Like we just need something interesting to happen with them. Same with the tag team titles, honestly, at the moment. But that's where I think things are gonna go. That's how I feel. Let me know what you think in the comments.